A History of Hollywood. From 1880 to the present day, the story of Hollywood is, in essence, the story of cinema itself, a tale of imagination, innovation, and dent with moving images in the late 19th transformation. What began as a simple experiment century evolved into one of the most influential cultural industries in human history. Over more than a century, Hollywood has mirrored the changing face of art, technology, and society, shaping not only the global entertainment landscape, but also the very dreams of humanity. The birth of cinema, 1880 to 1910. The origins of cinema lie in the remarkable scientific curiosity of the late 1800s. In 1880, the Lumiere brothers of France invented the cinematograph, a device capable of both recording and projecting moving pictures. In 1895, they publicly screened their first short films, brief glimpses of daily life such as workers leaving a factory and a train arriving at a station. Though simple, these images carried a strange magic that captured the imagination of audiences everywhere. By the dawn of the 20th century, short, silent clips began to evolve into narrative storytelling. In 1903, the American film The Great Train Robbery introduced the concept of cinematic narrative, using editing and action to tell a complete story. Around this time, filmmakers migrated westward to Los Angeles, drawn by its sunshine, diverse landscapes, and year-round favorable weather. The small district of Hollywood would soon become the world's cinematic capital. The Silent Era, 1910 to 1927. The silent era marked Hollywood's true establishment as the global hub of filmmaking. Directors and actors explored the art of visual storytelling through movement, expression, and music. Films such as The Birth of a Nation, 1915, and The Gold Rush 1925 demonstrated how powerful cinema could be, capable of evoking deep emotion without a single spoken word. This was the era of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Harold Lloyd, whose artistry elevated film into an expressive and universal language understood across cultures. The coming of sound, 1927 to 1930s. A major revolution arrived in 1927 with The Jazz Singer, the first feature film to include synchronized sound. The talkies transformed cinema overnight. Actors' voices became as important as their faces, and new genres, particularly musicals, comedies, and dramas, flourished. Stars like Clark Gable, Greta Garbo, and Jean Harlow emerged, and Hollywood entered a period of immense growth. The Golden Age of Hollywood, 1930s-1950s. The period from the 1930s to the 1950s is remembered as the Golden Age of Hollywood. Major studios, MGM, Paramount, Warner Bros., and 20th Century Fox dominated production, distribution, and exhibition. The studio system created an empire of stars, directors, and technicians under strict contracts, producing hundreds of films each year. Classic masterpieces such as Gone with the Wind, 1939, Casablanca, 1942, and Citizen Kane, 1941, established enduring standards of cinematic storytelling. Despite the turmoil of the Great Depression and the Second World War, Hollywood thrived by offering both escapism and inspiration. By the 1950s, however, a new challenge emerged: television. To compete, filmmakers turned to innovations like Technicolor, CinemaScope, and large-scale productions such as Ben-Hur, 1959, and The Ten Commandments, 1956. Cinema became more spectacular than ever before. New Hollywood and the rise of the auteur, 1960s-1970s. As the old studio system began to decline, a new generation of filmmakers redefined American cinema. Directors like Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, and Steven Spielberg brought bold experimentation, realism, and psychological complexity to the screen. Films such as Psycho, 1960, The Godfather, 1972, Jaws, 1975, and Star Wars, 1977, marked a cultural and artistic revolution. This was the age of the auteur, directors as creative, visionaries, when personal expression and innovation flourished within mainstream cinema. The blockbuster era, 1980s. The 1980s ushered in the era of the blockbuster, large-scale, high-concept films designed to attract mass audiences worldwide. Directors like Spielberg, Lucas, James Cameron, and Ridley Scott mastered the art of combining technology, action, and emotion. Movies such as E.T., 1982, Blade Runner, 1982, and Back to the Future, 1985, defined the decade's cinematic spirit. Hollywood also became a global industry, with marketing, merchandise, and sequels extending far beyond the cinema hall. Film had now become both an art and a multinational business. Digital revolution and global expansion, 1990s. 1990s transformed filmmaking once again through the rise of digital effects and computer-generated imagery, CGI. Films like Jurassic Park, 1993, Titanic, 1997, and The Matrix, 1999, demonstrated how technology could serve storytelling rather than overshadow it. Simultaneously, independent cinema flourished. Filmmakers such as Quentin Tarantino, Richard Linklater, and the Coen brothers introduced sharp dialogue, unconventional narratives, and a focus on human psychology. Hollywood had become a broad creative spectrum, from massive studio epics to intimate character studies. Franchises, streaming, and diversity. 2000 present. The new millennium witnessed the rise of franchise cinema, interconnected universes that spanned multiple films and decades. Series like Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, The Dark Knight, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe dominated global screens. Technological progress redefined both production and distribution. Digital cameras replaced film stock. 3D and IMAX offered immersive experiences. And streaming services such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and HBO Max revolutionized viewing habits. The traditional movie theater faced competition from the living room, yet cinema continued to adapt and survive. Recent years have also brought a vital focus on diversity, inclusion, and representation. Films like Black Panther, 2018, Parasite, 2019, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, 2022, illustrate the global nature of storytelling today, where voices from different cultures and perspectives find equal recognition. Conclusion. From 1880 to the present, Hollywood's journey has mirrored the evolution of human creativity itself. It began as a small experiment under the Californian sun and grew into a vast cultural empire that continues to shape dreams across the world. Through silent pictures and sound, black and white frames, and digital worlds, film has remained the mirror of humanity, reflecting our fears, hopes, and imagination. Hollywood stands today not merely as a place on the map, but as a living symbol of the power of storytelling, proof that dreams, once projected onto a screen, can indeed change the world.